Everybody, Alex Miller at Capian here. You might have seen me discussing elsewhere that if half the hype about ChatGPT and similar large language model chatbots is correct, the people that make these chatbots are going to acquire a disturbing level of power over discourse and what kind of information people consume, because this is fundamentally a much more centralized model than what we are already freaked out about Facebook and Google and similar doing. I think if you're worried about this, and I think people worry about dumber stuff all day, so why not? It's really important to understand the actors that are creating these things. And I think if you've been three or more beers with me deep on a Friday night, you know I'm a corporate governance nerd in a way. I don't know if I've met another one. A lot of problems people are mad about out in the world, I think, are actually shadows of corporate governance problems. So I'm going to talk about OpeanAI, the entity that made ChatGPT, and there's a lot of controversy around them right now and some of the moves they've made. I'm generally a skeptic, and I'm skeptical myself. I don't think you should take anything I'm saying and hate them or think they're bad, but rather there's some real head scratchers, and it's worth talking about. So let me give some backstory. OpenAI was originally only a not-for-profit. It was formed in 2015 by luminaries like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, names you might recognize. The premise was kind of like AI is evil and it might blow up the world, and we can head this off by democratizing it and giving it to everyone. I'm already skeptical of that, but whatever, let's keep going. So things have gone really well for them. They recruited some really great talent. They've made some really cool models that have gotten a lot of attention. I didn't even notice, but actually the DALL-E model that people were really thrilled about a few weeks ago, that was also them. So they've been doing big things from a technical standpoint, really getting it right and making it happen. You know, it's tempting, once you get the attention, do you want to cash in? And it kind of looks like they are, which is awkward. So in 2019, they formed a for-profit subsidiary. And so already it's the kind of thing you got to blink your eyes a little bit. A not-for-profit corporation with a for-profit subsidiary, okay, that's kind of weird. They have a capped for-profit model, which is unusual, but the cap is if you invest in this thing, you get 100x, you can get at most 100x your investment back as return. So that's not much of a cap. I'll talk more about that in a second. If you don't trust some bum like me that this is kind of weird, Elon Musk had put $100 million into OpenAI when it was only a not-for-profit. He was very publicly salty and weirded out in the news that they had formed this for-profit entity that he didn't have any ownership of. And I don't know if that's a virtuous kind of mood and that people didn't guarantee him anything, but I don't know, 9 out of 10 people on the street might be pissed off in the same way, and you can search your heart and think about how you would feel. Okay, so let me talk about what they said about this and then why it's still a little weird, I think, and I'm still a little skeptical. The stated premise is that they need this money to compete with Google and Microsoft, etc. They need lots of money for massive cloud computing investment and so on. This is not totally unreasonable, except that they were having a lot of success under their old model, including getting really massive donations. Google's playing catch up, so they could feel a little bit like Google should be scared of them. I don't know. I'm certainly, when you read about the kind of money they spend running that thing, maybe that's okay. I find the 100x capped profit thing very weird. If it's normal to you in your world that investments turn anywhere close to 100x, All I can say is that, I've always thought you were a really cool person and I liked you. And I think we should have drinks sometime and just talk about, money and investing and catch up and stuff like that. Maybe go golfing. You can give me some stock tips. That's unheard of to me. 100x. And I think it should also worry you. Okay, they're looking for investors now. Are they telling investors that they're worried about hitting that 100x or even close to it? Because if they are, you better hope you're on the ground floor of the most explosively transformative technological event in human history. And if you're even second best most transformative, you should worry that the people who are going to have a lot of control over your information consumption are kind of in this position where they function like crackheads that are desperate for money. You told a bunch of people you were going to return them 50x or something, and you're trying to meet those expectations. That is not a situation that tends to produce good behavior in people. I've also been a little confused, or I don't know why I'm anxious, and I'd like to invite the lawyers of LinkedIn, if you're listening. Is this going to be a kind of nightmarish shareholder lawsuit someday? So you got the not-for-profit, you got the for-profit subsidiary. The people that are governing this corporation, they have really strong legal obligations to do this or that particular thing in how they behave. And it looks like a Rube Goldberg contraption that's just going to explode someday to me. Yeah, an extra interesting detail is that OpeanAI, the for-profit one, is a limited partnership, which is also something you don't see that much in tech, but I'm not real knowledgeable of that, so I'm not going to say anymore. Finally, well, what was the original mission? We're supposed to be democratizing AI. Is raising tons of money from investors with stratospheric expectations about profit while running around trying to sell licenses to big corporations? That doesn't sound like the original mission to me, which is maybe another reason you might be pissed if you were Elon Musk. Well, I gave you 100 million to do a particular thing, and now you're doing something else. And once again, this re-intersects the governance problem. So I think it's all very interesting. None of this is real bad behavior. It's not illegal. The tool is great. Everybody can use it. That's pretty democratic. There's certainly a lot that's odd, and people out there beyond me personally are scratching their heads about what does it mean? What are these people's intentions? Are these good decisions? And we're going to get to find out. On this one, I think there's things where I have kind of a skin crawly feeling, but I can't quite identify why I think there's a problem. So I would make an unusually intense entreaty, especially if you're a lawyer and you can say something about that shareholder fiduciary issue. I'd love to hear what you have to say, because I think it's really interesting. And once again, I don't know that it's bad for sure, but it's pretty weird.